Welcome in, Irish fans. Happy Sunday. Victory Sunday. Irish had a great game yesterday. Final score 52-3. Probably their best one of the season as far as the score is concerned, anyway. Um, you know, FSU has not been the best team this year. In fact, they've been so bad this year that they just fired their offensive coordinator, their defensive coordinator, and their wide receivers coach after playing us yesterday. 1-7, no, 1-9 on the season. I mean, that's astounding. Like I know I kept saying, my lack of concern was a cause for concern. If you watched or listened to the previous podcast, and it was, my lack of concern was a cause for concern because last time I wasn't concerned. We played NIU and we lost. Overall, the performance yesterday from the Irish was really good. Turnovers, I mean, well managed. 6 sacks. Riley Mills had 3. I cannot say enough about this defense and how well this defense does. The only 3 points that FSU scored came from 2 fourth and 1 or fourth and short conversions. They were going for it on fourth down, and they converted both fourth downs. And our defense seems to just slowly adapt to teams, I think, as time goes on. But furthermore, it seems like our defense does a really good job of wearing offenses down. And that's a little backwards. That's not normally what you see in a football game. Normally you see an offense wear a defense down. It seems like we get the opposite effect. Our defense wears offenses down, which is a beautiful thing to see. And, I'm sure a lot of that has to do with head coach Marcus Freeman, being who he is. I'm sure a lot of that has to do with, just our staff and everybody, from the top down. Certainly has a lot to do with our players and the level of talent that we recruit at Notre Dame on defense. But as we saw yesterday in playing FSU, a level of talent does not make a great football team, because that football team was absolutely stacked with talent. But it was stacked with talent that transferred from someplace else, and like they say about Lou Holtz says about what happens when you take your problems somewhere else. You give your problems a new address, and it's the same thing. They were given their problems a new address. They weren't learning the game well. Apparently, wherever they were at, they certainly, the FSU team that we played yesterday has not been learning the game well, despite the athleticism, despite all of the great players on that team. And I really want to hand it to Brock Glenn, the quarterback at FSU. He's a good quarterback. I mean, moves well, runs the ball really well, and furthermore, just fairly accurate throwing the ball. And he didn't have a whole lot of help yesterday from his offensive line, from his receivers. He got a lot done kind of by himself. And I want to look at the box score here. So they had 120 rushing yards, total rushing yards yesterday. Lawrence Toafili had 77 yards. It felt like that kid felt like he was running all over us. That's not been the case with this team this year. Now, they gouged us on a few big plays, and I mean, obviously they didn't come in with any scores. We found a way to get the third and long enough or fourth and long enough situations that we needed in order to get out. But I tell you what, I mean, there's a lot of talent on that team. So I really want to give Brock Glenn a lot of credit for what he did yesterday. He's a good quarterback. 2 interceptions. Yeah, I know, and the pick six. The pick six by Talish was beautiful. Or Talic. Sorry. Yeah, the pick six by Luke Talek was absolutely beautiful. And then Jordan Clark had the little interception over the middle, which was probably Brock Glenn's fault. But you're reading in pressure and trying to throw a ball over the middle. That's going to happen occasionally. So Riley Leonard, he had a lot of really good moments yesterday. He moves the ball well with his feet. He always does. 2 rushing touchdowns. One passing touchdown. I want to see that go the other way. He had 2 opportunities to get the ball downfield to a guy in the end zone, and just missed. He had a crossing route. The ball was high and behind the receiver. If you do that against a better team, that's an interception in the end zone. You can't have that, And then he had one throw. I have no idea what he was doing. The player was, I think it was to Mitch Evans. Evans was well covered. He went up and took the ball away from the defender to make the reception. Just mental errors in the passing game, and I understand why he does so much with his feet, because mental errors in the passing game are gonna absolutely kill us. I understand why he's our number 1 quarterback. I do. He's the best all-around athlete. He throws the ball well most of the time, and for most of the season, it's been good enough. But I will say that when the bowl selection committee is done tomorrow, and it looks like we're lined up to be 8-9 or 7-8 with 8-9 against with Alabama right behind us, right? So if we're number 8, Bama looks like they're going to be number 9. You cannot play like that against Bama, even if we're at home in the middle of the winter. That's unsaid. You can't do that. And I know it was cold yesterday. The ball was cold. There was a really nice breeze. And by a nice breeze, I mean it was just freaking cutting through you if you were in the stadium. So it was chilly. That impacts the way you throw the ball, and it impacts a lot of things. But those are all excuses. You got to be able to come out and execute on a Saturday night in prime time. Now, that being said, the game was a lot of fun. Notre Dame always puts together a great primetime game, and it's the only one that we got at home this whole season. So that was a fun experience. I hope you were there. I hope you got to enjoy it. Tickets were going for as low as $35 with fees on SeatGeek. So if you were in South Bend and you wanted to go to a game, that might have been a good one to go to. Virginia's next weekend, and I'll tell you what. Tickets aren't much better for that, or aren't much worse for that one. So if you're in South Bend or you want to get to South Bend, go check those out. I don't have a whole lot else for you. I can sing the praises of the defense all night long, and I guess the only other takeaway that I really had was I really don't know what was going on with Jeremiah Love yesterday. Normally he is lights out, and had 9 carries for a total of 19 yards, average 2 yards per carry. He did have the 1 rushing touchdown, but it seemed like every time he stopped, he took the ball. Every time he got the ball, it was for no gain. Did have a couple of good receptions. He had one that hit him in the hands and he dropped. I wasn't too happy about that one. Ball was thrown a little bit low, but at the end of the day, it's one he probably should have caught. So, 1 reception for 13 yards. That's what it was. So, and Deion Colsey yesterday got his number called. 1 reception for 7 yards and a touchdown. I tell you what, I was looking at the people around me at the game. I didn't even know he was still on the team. So happy to see that he came in and produced and scored. I mean, Colsey was going to be one of the better future wide receivers here at Notre Dame, and honestly, just really happy that he was able to step in and perform yesterday. All right, that's all I've got for you. We'll come back a little bit later this week. We're going to have a lot of fun hyping up the game against Virginia. I will get deep into my homework this week, and we'll come back with a quality I can't talk tonight. With a quality analysis of what the game's going to look like. All right, that's it for me. I love you all. Keep looking up. Go Irish.